I don't know exactly how this is going to go. That's part of the point. But don't let that worry you, because we're going to have a lot of fun and go over a lot of great information that you can implement yourself. So it's participant directed. We're going to play in the space with how does this work, so that you can test things out and see how you might want to use an element for yourself as well. So how many of you remember the chapter book? Pick your own adventure chapter books as a kid. So what did you like about these? Why were they a hit for you? Yeah, they made reading fun. It was such a great, different experience to reading, because it wasn't the same every time. And what we're going to be talking about with the adventure is it is participant directed, but you're still the guide. And there is some work and effort and prep, and I'm going to give you examples of how to do this. And I'm specifically focusing on the live group in event or learning experience and training. How many of you feel excited about this? You might, hey. And how many of you are feeling a little, I don't know how this is going to work? A few. How many people put up their hands both times? So that is definitely, understandable. And so we're going to unpack this and explore. Now, on your at your tables, there was a different activity at each table. And I don't know if you picked a table based on the activity and looked around, or if you just sat down and then discovered the activity. Tell me a little bit about how you felt when you saw the activity.
I love it.
Yes. So you had the
people who sat down after me when I was like, roll the ball!
That's
I
great.
loved it.
That's great. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So at that table was the thumb ball, where you roll it and see what question you get, and where or throw it, gently, and where your thumb lands. How about anyone else?
I kind of wanted the Play-Doh.
Yes,
Play-Doh.
afterwards.
Play-Doh and chocolates.
Yeah.
That's it. I do have a little bit more. Oh, good. Sharing is good. And I do have a little bit more chocolate that I'll share at some point too. So yeah, sometimes when we sit down, we're looking at another table and think, oh, I wish I saw that and sat over there. That happens too. When it's a different activity, so there could be the feeling of being unfair. What about a very concentrated table over there based on that activity? What did you think about that?
I like the transition between the sitting phase and just starting.
Jumping in. Yes.
Yeah, and it needs a lot of focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a word search there. So sort of a solo activity, and everyone's comfort level is a little bit different when it comes to, do you want to jump in and start talking about it if you're not sitting with people you know? And then it's okay too. I know some tables didn't start, they were chatting. That's okay too. It's part of the choice as well. Is anyone familiar with Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences? Is anyone familiar with that? So I was kind of actually picking activities that I thought would fit with some of those preferences. So you can have fun with it. And you might want to pick one activity for everybody or do this kind of thing. Any other thoughts on starting with an activity when you sat down?
I am an unabashed introvert, which makes me a bit of a strange bird in L&D. But I find sometimes activities like this can be a little uncomfortable. I'm very fortunate that I already had some contact with my table mates here, so that lessened the anxiety of getting in and doing something like that, particularly when the opening question was, name one thing you like about yourself.
Right, right.
It's like, can I have a roll again, please?
Exactly. No, and thank you for raising that, because, and I don't know too if the last couple of years have changed that for anybody too. If this is the first big conference you've been to in person, how people are feeling. So some people may have preferred the word search table and not, be put on the spot. And that's important to know as well, for knowing your audience or giving choice and options for alternate, that there's no pressure, no one's put on the spot. So I appreciate you mentioning that as well. And So this, I don't know if you agree with this or not. How many of you feel that sometimes the training that you're running, the people in your team or your audience participants are feeling forced to be there? Definitely, we've all experienced that. And that's a very different learning and facilitation when you're training, if you're getting that vibe from everyone as well. And how many of you feel that some of your participants' attention spans have changed too? Maybe changed, or have you noticed that? Have you noticed